Hey guys, I'm Dario from Bluebird, and today I want to talk to you about how we use our Ikawa Pro 100X to process samples and for the different reasons we'd be processing them. Today I have 4 beautiful coffees from Ethiopia. These are actually arrival samples, so these same coffees, same lots, would have been processed as pre-shipment samples a few months ago when we were making our selections. Once they were contracted, the coffees have been shipped and we've now received arrival samples, and we can just confirm that we are actually receiving what we had ordered. I am busy preheating at the moment. You can see the little red light on my machine. I've got a profile loaded, which is my starting point profile for all of our sample roasting. And basically the one change that I'll make before even roasting a specific sample will just be to change the amount of time after first crack that the coffee will spend in the drum. This particular machine, the X model, is amazing. It's got a first crack detection, which allows me to set and leave the machine to do its thing, and it's not going to run to a certain time or temperature, but rather a preset amount of time after first crack on the profile that I've set. So I've just heard a little ping, which means we are ready to go. The roaster is warm, and I'm going to load our first batch of coffee. So now you can see the purple light flashing on the Ikawa, and basically what has happened is that on this point on our graph where this purple dotted line is, the machine has decided that that's where first crack happened. The way it works that out is by monitoring the humidity levels inside the drum. There's a sensor in the exhaust that tracks the humidity inside the drum, and as a peak humidity event occurs, the Ikawa makes a decision that that is where first crack happened. It's a lot more reliable and consistent than an audible first crack detector. And the data from that humidity sensor is actually quite interesting. It's helping us to understand what's happening to our coffee in the drum. But for the purposes of sample roasting, what's amazing is I was busy batching off some coffee for the next roast, and the machine decided first crack had happened and ran a predetermined amount of the profile after the first crack based on what we set up earlier. And now it's busy cooling down. So you can see the blue light is on the machine now. It's cooling the coffee down. You can see the temperatures falling rapidly on our profile. And once it reaches, I think it's 50 degrees or lower in the environmental temperature, I stand to be corrected there. The cooling will end, and I'll be able to take the coffee out of the drum, and we will have completed our first arrival sample roast for the day. Okay, so now that the roast is completed, we get this screen which allows us to save information about the specific sample. So we can enter the coffee name, we can take photos of the coffee, and this little code over here is absolutely fantastic. So E17 will refer to this batch, and if we were to cup these coffees blind, which in this particular instance we don't really need to do because we're just doing a confirmation of arrival samples, we would be able to code our coffee, our roasted coffee with E17. We wouldn't know what it is, cup all the coffees blind, come back to our profiles, and we can actually pick up the information about that specific coffee, which is super, super helpful when you're doing blind evaluations of lots of samples. And it is great tech for us to have. Just to show you the end curve here, there's a lot of information, but essentially the background red shaded area shows the curve that we wanted the coffee to follow, and the red line is the curve that the coffee actually followed and the Ikawa is making power adjustments along the way to help us to achieve as close to the profile as possible. And to us, stand to be corrected, as I said earlier, the cool down temperature is 50 degrees in the chamber and 35 degrees environmental. Now we can empty out the chaff and have a very, very quick turnaround. Great, so now we're ready to roast the next batch. Preheating already, and I've got a number of samples to process today, so I hope you enjoyed that. If you've got any questions, obviously please shoot us your thoughts and we will do our best to answer. But yeah, thanks to Ikawa for an amazing machine. I love working on my sample roaster. This is my little lab. This is the place that I'm happiest roasting coffee, and it's an amazing tool for us to get the best results from our sample roasting to make good decisions around our green coffee buying, and that's what matters for us at the end of the day. Keeping the main thing, which is, as a roastery, buying the best green we can find, and in order to do that, we need to be able to evaluate the sample as well. So yeah, we'll catch you in the next one. Ciao.